Good evening, sixth graders. We will be looking at a few things in this video. We will first be reviewing how to make a dot plot, then we will look at how to find the median, and lastly we will look at how to find the range. We will start by reviewing how to make a dot plot. You may have heard about line plots in previous math courses. Sometimes mathematicians have a different name for the same thing. A dot plot is the exact same thing as a line plot. To make a dot plot, we need some data first. Sixth graders to tell me how many hours they slept when they have school the next day. This is what they told me. We will first use 3 steps to create our dot plot. First, we are going to put our data in order from smallest to biggest, just like we did yesterday. I find it easiest to cross out the values as I go along, so I know what values I've already accounted for. Here is our data in order from least to greatest. Our next step in creating a dot plot or line plot is to draw a line and tick marks to represent our data. Here is a line with equally spaced tick marks. We put a tick mark in for 11 even though we don't have any data points, just to keep the spacing consistent. Now we have to put in the dots to represent each student who sleeps that much when they have school the next day. We put 1 dot because we have 1 student who slept 7 hours. We put 3 dots on 8 because we have 3 students who slept 8 hours. We put 1 dot for 9 since we have 1 student who slept 9 hours. We put 2 dots for 10 since we have 2 students who slept 10 hours. We put no dots for 11 because no one slept that much. And then we put 2 dots for 12 because we have 2 students who slept 12 hours. So our steps for creating a dot plot are: order numbers from smallest to largest, make a line with equal spacing, and then insert your data. Now that we've created a dot plot for our data, we can start to ask questions about it. First, we will ask, what is the median? Sometimes it is useful to know what point separates a data distribution into 2 equal parts, where one part represents the larger half of the data values and the other part represents the smaller half of the data values. This point is called the median. When the data are arranged in order from smallest to largest, the same number of values will be above the median as are below the median, which is why we say it's the middle. Now let's find the median of the data we just used to make a dot plot. To figure out the median, we want to order the numbers from least to greatest, which we have already done. The smallest number here is 7, and the greatest number is 12, and we have 9 numbers. We can find the median by counting towards the middle by crossing out the smallest and largest values, which in this case are 7 and 12, and we can also do this on our dot plot. Then we cross out the next smallest and largest, which is 8 and 12, and we can do that up here as well. And we keep going like this until we get to the middle. So we'll cross out a number 8, another 10, an 8, a 10, and we've reached the middle of our data, which is 9. So we have 4 values below 9, 7, and then 3 8s, and 4 values above 9, 2 10s and 2 11s. Since they have the same number of values above and below it, we know that this is for sure our median. So 9 is the median of our data set. We can also see the mode pretty clearly with this dot plot. We see that there are 3 students who slept 8 hours with school the next day. And this will also be our mode, which we talked about yesterday. So we now have 2 ways to find the center of our data. The median, which is the middle of our data set, and the mode, which is the number that shows up the most in our data set. We will now look at the range for our data. When we're talking about the range, it is simply the difference between the lowest and the highest values in our data set. For our data, we can see that the lowest value is 7 and the highest value is 12. So our range is simply 12 minus 7 equals 5. So 5 is our range. So the range of how many hours a sixth grader sleeps with school the next day is 5 hours. We have been able to see that the most common number of hours a student sleeps is 8 hours, our mode. The middle value of our data is 9 hours, our median. And the range of how many hours a sixth grader sleeps with school the next day varies 5 hours. To recap, we looked at how to make a dot plot, how to find the median, and how to find the range. We also reviewed what the mode is. All of this talk of sleeping has made me a little tired, so I am off to bed. Have a great night.